Hey everyone, Jack with Cryton Chronicles,
Hi, I'm Kate.
and we're going to review the Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 6, Beyond the Wall. And I've got a ton of notes. Actually, if you missed it in the title, this is a spoiler review, so I'll have my little spoiler deal flash in there probably. But yeah, so there's going to be spoilers, and a spoiler in advance is that I kind of found this to be a mess of an episode. I have tons of notes. I'm hoping I can crush through some of it fast, but I don't know. We'll see. And I got a note card of questions. I don't know. Maybe a separate video. I don't know. We'll see. But so instead of just doing scenes in order, I'm just gonna try to start with some of the lesser and then go into the bigger chunks. That sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. We're going to start with Tyrion and Mother of Dragons. In this episode, pretty much you had the Mother of Dragons discussing how she was happy that she brings up heroes because of her longing, I'm assuming, for Jon Snow. Like, all these guys, she names off Dario, who I couldn't remember his name a few episodes ago, but Dario and you know, Drogo and, you know, so on and so forth. Even Jorah, actually. And, like, so they're always trying to outman one another, one-up one another, and
win her love.
yeah, and then Tyrion's like, oh, you know, they've all fallen in love with you, and she's like, Jon Snow's not in love with me, and he's like, oh, he just stares longingly at you for no apparent reason or whatever. I don't know. This storyline, I get some of this because this is kind of, I mean, they're pushing the romance between Daenerys and Jon, and they've been doing that for a while, and but it feels like it's coming on really strong, and in this moment, despite just that, they talk about how she's going to carry on her legacy, basically, because she claims she says she can't have children, and he knows this, and Tyrion's trying to be like, you know, there are other ways to pass on, you know, your lineage and stuff, and your rule and legacy and stuff, so that once she, quote unquote, breaks the wheel and stops like the tyranny of how things have been in the world of Westeros and how things have been governed and ruled, that will be ensured and continue on with whoever her successors are.
Yeah, basically. She's way less concerned about figuring out who her successor is and more concerned about just maintaining rule.
Yeah, just actually getting the throne.
Yep.
Like, so that's all she, like, we'll discuss this later and after I have the throne, rah rah. So, you know, okay, I kind of get that. And I think that the talk about the discussion of the succession is important in the story because it is like she can't have children. What is her planning to do? I mean, she's kind of like the last of her lineage kind of stuff and all this. And, you know, what is the plan? Like, but I've kind of always wondered what the hell's her plan anyway, even when she attacked Lannister army right outside King's Landing. Was she going to go right into King's Landing? If it was outside King's Landing, like, we're told, like, because I never even bothered to verify. It's just the fact that it was like, you just wanted to mess them up and then come back and whatever. I don't know. So either way, like, okay, so she takes over. She's not really quite demonstrating that she's this person that she was when she was freeing people and caring about all that stuff. She was a lot more warm and caring and stuff like that. Totally. And now she's more cold, which would happen, I guess. But I still am like, well, she's got to prove that she's going to treat the people and everybody better. Like, but getting to that point, I think they kind of discuss, like, there's a lot of deceit and death and everything to get that point. So, but, you know, like, all his sister has is fear, you know, but she has more to offer. So, I don't know, we'll see. But, I don't know. So it's an important discussion, but I think it's just really heavy-handed with the whole Jon Snow romance thing. Like, it's just coming on strong, and it gets hammered in a little bit more even a little later. So, and I also just like that these moments, this is like the third time, I think, or something, where she goes off on Tyrion about his family. Yeah. Like, he's a Lannister, okay, like in the war with the like when they attack the army, and or like when they find out their people were getting screwed, their armies didn't do anything, which, by the way, who knows where the other people associated with that are. I didn't even think that Theon and Illyria or Laria or whoever, like with their daughter, the Sand Snakes and stuff, but it's just the fact that, like, how many times are you going to bring this up? Like, you're just like, okay, you're okay with it, and then you're not, and then you're okay with it, and then you're not. Like, it's like she's bipolar, like, kind of a thing. It annoys me.
And then, of course, she irons it into him about how he's not a hero. I feel bad for him.
Not a hero. She brings up, you know, he's too little, like Jon Snow, and it's like, well, Drogo was probably So yeah, so maybe Jon Snow is a little too little. Who knows? But Dario is probably good enough. So I guess who knows? Possibilities are endless. But either way, like yeah, it's just she seems like she's just a little like just bitchy to him. Like, and he's if he was going to betray her, she would have been dead.
Yeah.
Or at least attempted, and he'd be dead by this point in time. Same with a lot of the others that this season's kind of brought up over and over again about the betrayals that have happened, even though she was okay with this and okay with that, and sent Jorah away, so it's very inconsistent, and I just get annoyed with that. But yeah, so they just discuss about succession, and then I guess we can go into the Arya and Sansa. Basically, they have this creepy Arya giving her a little story.
Creepy.
Yeah, like she's talking about father seeing her do all this stuff, and I don't know. The story's kind of pointless to me. It's basically just to create a scene where the two of them bicker again and fight. She's found that letter to Robb that was under duress, which you would think Arya would understand,
Right.
but she's just doesn't seem to understand.
Right. Yeah.
So, because she's like, you betrayed father. You were up there in your pretty dress and watching the beheading of But as people have pointed out online, like there's memes I think even now, and like where they actually show her like, yeah, we know exactly what she was doing, like screaming no and like telling, she wasn't obviously wanting her father killed.
Right.
So and trying to get Joffrey to stop and all that stuff, and Arya's just sitting at the statue chilling, whatever. So it's like, but for some reason there's this disconnect, I guess, that she doesn't understand why Sansa couldn't do anything and wouldn't man up and do anything, or woman up, or just hero up, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, but just like to stop them, and when she herself hasn't, and they were freaking kids still.
Right.
Like, even, it's hard to think of them that as still kind of are, but, like,
she
then or
just
even more
got
so.
wed to Joffrey, and...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she was...
And they know how Cersei is, especially at this point. She
Right.
knows, so it's like, yeah, it was probably under duress and forced. And, like, I mean, what if she said... it just doesn't make sense. And Littlefinger was there, even, I think. And so, like, I don't know, it's just messed up. I hate this storyline. So, but, so then eventually, like, so that's, like, just creating more drama between them. She kind of threatens about telling the other lords and stuff, and then Littlefinger approaches Sansa, and they just talk politics a bit, and Sansa's worried that if people did discover this, that they would, like, leave and abandon her, because they're already kind of wishy-washy, which is another thing I get annoyed about in the story, where the lords are like, oh, okay, everything's good, and then they bitch about shit, and then it's like, oh, okay, everything, and then they bitch about the same stuff over and over. It's pointless. Like, it just gets old.
It's just filler stuff.
Yeah, like, and I feel like this whole story is almost filler, like, they don't know what to do with them.
Yep.
Like, so, and Littlefinger's like, brings up Brienne, and basically how, well, isn't she not sworn for protecting both of you, and then, and even if one was going to harm the other, and she's like, yeah, she would, okay. So I was like, oh, okay, so Brienne, I thought the mentality was that Brienne was going to be there to protect her in case Arya went nutso and, like, tried to do something.
Right.
But, but then there's the thing in the back was like, because then we got the scene with, like, Sansa getting an invitation to go to King's Landing, and I'm assuming for Cersei. And I forgot about the part where they, like, she literally had it and was delivered to her and whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, part of me thought, like, and maybe it could have been Littlefinger. Like, maybe it wasn't even real. I thought it was all, like, a plot on her end, because the whole thing was weird. She gets this invite, she's not gonna go, she has to stay there, so she sends Brienne.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, I thought you just discussed that you wanted Brienne around. And I'm like, well, then is she planning to do something to Arya? So Brienne can't stop her rather than protect her from Arya?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so is that the plan now? What? Because you kind of just seem more interested in that Brienne was there.
Should be around.
Yeah, should be around, and then not. And then I was like, well, if Littlefinger did this, okay, well, why would she send Brienne away? Out of anybody else that was around, I don't know who else there, but like, if you're sending Brienne, who is not even, I don't even know her title, I guess. I know it's Brienne of Tarth, and it's like, what about one of the other lords? Someone else of more stature, I guess, in that world and realm. So, but nope, her. Okay, so that's where I'm like, okay, this seems all janky to me. So
yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so she just sends Brienne off, and then to finish off this whole scene, we've got basically Sansa finding, like, she sneaks into Arya's room or whatever, and conveniently her little bag's there. She knows right away under the bed, and just her mask. So Arya, not that she would expect anyone, but Arya's like a assassin, like thief, like probably thinking ahead and wanting things. She just has it where it's like her masks are just sitting there.
Right.
Like, I know they're in a bag, but like just easy access.
Yeah.
It just seems weird. Like those things would be tucked away. I mean, you got Littlefinger with like cuts a thing in his bed and puts the whatever, and she's just like, oh, here are my creepy ass masks. I'll just
Right.
leave them in this
Here are
bag,
my
half
faces.
out under the
Yeah.
bed, so if anybody comes in,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird to me. So, so Sansa finds him, and then Arya confronts her and basically threatens her.
Yeah.
And so it's like this whole dynamic that I just don't understand. It's like they're not acting the way that I feel that they would, like especially the threatening her and like. So I was like, is it gonna like if she would have done something to Sansa, I would have probably checked out even more than I have now
Right.
with the series because it's just that wouldn't make sense.
Right. No,
To me,
it
and-
seems disjointed and weird, and it's like to create this like
This
sibling
tension.
rivalry tension,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't seem to make sense at
No,
all.
it doesn't make sense. And then at the end, like she threatens her and stuff, and I wonder what it'd be like to wear those pretty dresses, and like
Right.
I could take her face at any time and put them on, become her, and it's like you don't actually need to do that,
Right.
And you could just try them on. She's your sister. She'd
Yeah.
probably be cool with that. You don't have to take her face, but she's implying that she can kill her, take her face, and take her role and take over, and live her life and whatever. But and then like oddly, just like it looks like she gives her the dagger
Yeah,
to Sansa, and it's like, is that the dagger
that's what I
that
thought it was.
I thought it was a dagger, yeah, that was meant to kill Bran. That Littlefinger gave to Bran gave to Arya gave to her.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that puts in my thoughts of where I said before, where I thought, well, maybe it's all a ruse. But at this point, it 100 million thousand should not be a ruse.
Right.
Because if it is, all these scenes from the last few episodes have been completely pointless and completely red herring and incredibly shitty writing.
Right.
Like, it is shitty in my opinion at the moment because I feel like they don't know what they're doing with the characters, but if it is a ruse, then it was like, oh, they gave her the knife, and then they're gonna be like, haha, we knew all this and plotted all this so we can fucking kill Littlefinger. Like, that would be messed up, and I would be so pissed. I mean, it's already got me upset because I think it's just a lame, pointless storyline. Like, if you didn't know what to do with the characters, don't even do that. They haven't even, like, caught up. It's just, like, this automatic drama tension. And I know Littlefinger is, like, supposedly, behind all these fueling stuff, but it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. But I'm really hoping Littlefinger does bite the dust. But now if it's, like, this next episode, this finale, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, because how? Like,
Right.
I don't know. And unless it was all a ruse, which doesn't make sense with the scenes they're showing. And so if they do that, screw you. Like, that would be stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the Sansa Arya arc there going on, and then we got pretty much the Magnificent Seven, or whatever people call them, Suicide Squad. I just know there's 7. I think of Magnificent Seven, so that's
Yeah.
me. So, but so you got the heroes beyond the wall making their trek, and so pretty much we just see them making their trek out. A lot of scenes, it looks like they're walking for forever.
Yeah.
It's like a long distance. And, they're basically just buddying up. You got people ripping on, Tormund and Hound and stuff are just ripping on Gendry and,
Yeah. Gendry gets
the
a
noob
lot
or
of
whatever.
them,
And, so it's like he's like the only one airing his... Gendry's the one, like, kind of airing his grievances because with the Brotherhood and stuff. And then Tormund's just messing with him because he's Tormund, so it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So those were really funny moments. I thought, like just the jabbing and the back and forth and funny, and you also got like the Hound and who is it? The Hound and Tormund
Yeah.
going at it, and then Tormund starts talking about Bran and describing her, and he's like, Brianna the Tarth, like
I want to have her baby.
yeah, and then he's like, you know her, we're gonna have babies and like all this stuff,
Yeah.
like, which is funny. They're gonna rule the world, and so there's like a lot of comedic relief here and a lot of comedy that was good in between the moments with them walking out, into the whatever. I know people were saying that it looks like there's a lot more people there because if you actually seen the last episode when they're heading out beyond the wall, there was like people dragging like that little sled of like supplies and stuff, and they got supplies and everything, but honestly it doesn't look like they're hardly wearing much if it's like a harsh long winter coming, like so I don't know, the long night or whatever. It's just, to me, I don't get it, like the elements don't seem to really bother them, and that will get
Especially
into
those
stuff
that
later.
are from down south.
Yeah, that aren't even familiar with it. I guess like Tormund and the other John and stuff, they would be familiar. Like Wildlings, sure, they kind of, but this is supposedly going to be worse now. It's like amping up toward now it's going to be worse.
Winter is here.
Yeah, so like the long winter has arrived, and
Yeah.
it's going to be like, crazy. And so, but they've made it like that's a big issue for a long time. But now when they're beyond the wall, when the stuff's all hitting, it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
And that's more of a storytelling, failure in a way. But who knows? This whole plan is dumb. So their whole plan to go steal a white is just, I hate it. So I'm not surprised that some of this other stuff that takes place in this episode takes place. But but we got those moments and a lot of great scenes, like panoramic environment scenes and everything.
Beautiful.
They're awesome. Yeah, beautiful. Just I took a few screenshots of them. I was like, oh, that one's awesome. So I'll probably be playing them out here. And so they got all that going on, and then what happens? I feel like right after they're talking and stuff, then they come across a bear. And at first I had an issue because I thought Gendry, in this blizzard, because then it's like a blizzard. Yeah. And even with the blizzard, they're kind of like they still just have the same crap on. Yeah. And you can barely see, but then you can see a bear out there or something. And then Gendry's like, I thought he said it has no eyes. And I was like, how the fuck can you tell it has no eyes? And then it's like blue eyes. And then someone told me it was blue eyes. And I was like, I still have an issue with that. Yeah. And then I did take a screenshot and it was like glowing eyes. And I'm like, but still, it was like a blizzard. Yeah. Like a blizzard and it was way out there. And I guess, but why wouldn't you say like glowing eyes then? Right. Obviously, you would know if it was glowing, because if it just had blue eyes, you wouldn't be able to tell. It's just the whole thing, even just still irritated me, but I was already irritated because I thought it said the other. Like you said, no eyes and whatever. It's just, you couldn't see it. I just feel like, you
we're
could
from
see
Minnesota.
the glow,
we know blizzards, and you can hardly see.
Yeah, if there's headlights, you can't even see car headlights or whatever. Yeah. So either
I imagine it's way worse up there.
Yeah. So it's like, well, okay, whatever. But then the bear's chasing the tracker, the lead scout, I guess, and it's clearly behind him. And then when the tracker's almost up to the group, the bear attacks him from the side, and I was like, what? Oh, I was like, there's more than one bear. That was just like a trap or whatever. Yeah. So I thought there was more than one bear. From my understanding, there's just one bear. Yeah. At least they only show one bear. Yeah. And this whole fight scene infuriated me because it was like
one at a time.
It was like one at a time. Would grab and thrash one and stuff. Yeah. And while it's doing that, are they just watching? They're already engaged in combat. Go then.
Several at a time and take it out.
They should all be
once.
Hacking them and whatever. And I don't know. This is either way. You had then Barrack hit him with a flame sword. I mean, it was cool because they had the flame swords. They put turn them on and usually they have to run their hand along the blade and whatever and starts them on fire. Until later on, Barrack just goes like this and it starts. But whatever. So they're probably like, the actor didn't do this. Let's just put in the fire effect because that's when it happens. So it's all good. But I just it was like, okay, so that was cool. The bear starts on fire, but then the hound gets distracted. He's completely paralyzed from fire. And we've seen this multiple times, and he runs away from fire and all this stuff. And so he doesn't run away, but he's just paralyzed. The bear's about to attack him, and Thoros jumps in the way to protect him. And then Thoros gets thrashed around. Yeah. But it's that period of time. I mean, it was a long period of time before the bear even attacked him. And then when Thoros is getting thrashed around and the hound is watching it, what are all the other people doing? You were engaged in combat. There's a bear there. You see it's this. Yeah, they're just watching. It upset me. It was BS. So, but whatever. It is what it is. They slay the bear. They heal up Thoros' wounds, kind of. It sucks that he's a priest. He can bring people back, but he can't heal. Yeah. So he's like a healer, but not. He just bring them back from the dead, but he can't heal wounds. So that sucks. But so not like a cleric really or whatever. I don't know. Either way, okay. So they just trek on, and then they basically happen upon, miraculously, a band of whites with one White Walker. It's one White Walker, who I called White Walker, Sammy the White Walker. So Sammy the White Walker has 10 whites with him. Okay, so they happen upon this cliff or ledge, and they look over, they see him walking, and what they end up doing, it seems, is they're investigating a fire. And at first I thought, because I couldn't remember, I thought, well, did they set the fire? And it was a trap for them to come and investigate, even though how would you see the smoke in the blizzard or anything? Right. How would you even know that fire was going? I don't know. I'm not even, who knows? And that was after the fact, because eventually Cold Hands is in. I was like, well, maybe Cold Hands left it. And I was still like, well, if Cold Hands is around, why isn't he helping? Why isn't he
Right.
doing it? Where is he then at that point? The fire
Right.
was still going,
Yeah.
even stuff. But anyway, they come and investigate the fire, and then John and the Mag 7 kind of like just ambush them. And so they're fighting. Almost everybody's struggling with the whites.
Yeah.
Just the plain old whites. And John's fighting the White Walker, and he slices Sammy in half, and all the whites crumble except one. Conveniently, one.
that can capture.
Who I've dubbed Bob. So Bob the White Walker is alive.
Yes.
And so basically they got their one white.
I got Bob.
And then I have an issue with this too because Bob looks scared.
Yeah.
He's like, what am I going to do? What the hell? Oh my god, what am I going to do? Like, oh crap, I'm surrounded. Like, all this stuff, and it's like...
You're dead.
Yeah, you're an undead. You're
Yeah.
like an animated corpse of nothing. Like, do they have emotions? Do they have whatever? And this comes in later a little bit, but either way, yeah. So they basically beat him down, tie him up, and then all of a sudden, John, I thought it was an avalanche coming,
Yeah.
like, because it was screaming and stuff and echoes, and I couldn't tell, like, I wasn't sure exactly where they were in location on mountains and stuff, so, but, you know, it's the Night King coming, the army, and it's like the cold, like, mist, like, blizzardy kind of whatever they show coming, and so they tell Gendry to run back to Eastwatch and to send a raven to Daenerys. It's their only hope,
No
basically.
weapons.
And no weapons, because
He won't need them.
Tormund takes it because he can run faster without it. They determine he's the fastest. I don't know how, because he's the youngest. We've kind of debated this. He's the
Yeah.
youngest, but like there was some thin, lanky, kind of like fit-looking wildlings with them.
Yeah.
Like, how about he takes out? Who knows? Either way, Gendry's chosen. He runs back and be like, and then I was joking, I guess, like, why not take off all your clothes? You'll run faster. I mean, you just fought a bear out there. Like, what if there's other creatures out there? Just one wandering bear.
Yeah.
Like, and like,
Right.
who knows? Or a White Walker.
Yeah,
or
I
whites.
know.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, fight them with their bare hands. You'll be fine.
Right.
Like, like, not discounting that, obviously not all the undead's together, because you had this bear out there. And this group of White Walkers all by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, or White Walker with a group of whites. So, it's just... Yeah, so he runs back, and then they decide, instead of following, I don't know why they just all didn't go the same way.
I don't
Why didn't they
know.
all just try to run back? They got the white.
Right.
What were they going to do? Because
Yeah.
at first I got confused with the directions. I thought they were running towards the Night King and stuff, but there was like a little valley passage or whatever, and then there was another juncture to go to, and that's what went to the lake. So instead they start running out into the lake. Why didn't they give Bob to Gendry? I know, like, well, it would be about the same weight of that hammer probably as a little dead dude,
Yeah.
like white, so just carry him. So then at least they have that, and then if nothing else, because if they thought they weren't going to make it, like, what
Right.
was the point to even get Daenerys?
Right.
To what? Like,
Right.
give him the white and then go, or everybody go, and then just
Yeah.
fight them off as they can. Like,
Yeah.
either way, I don't know, but he could have taken the white and left, and nobody seemed to care anyway. Nobody chased him. It's like they didn't know, so they could have just all stayed there and sacrificed him. The same scenario that he got Bob the White, and he could have got to Eastwatch, and then therefore to, use for Cersei, because of a stupid plan. So, yeah. So basically, they start going onto this lake, and then it cracks. And I have a huge issue with this.
Right.
Because I was like,
How
what do you
is
mean
it?
it's thin ice? The ice is cracking?
Yeah.
Like, how long has this been frozen? How long has it been
Right.
cold here? How long, like, this should
And
just
it
be a
takes,
frozen
what,
lake.
7 bodies, or how many bodies to
Yeah,
crack
because,
it?
like, one just cracked it, like, when they ran out, it was
Right.
starting to crack.
Yeah.
And then they have no choice because they're getting funneled by the whites, and so they run out to this rock island kind of deal in the middle of the lake. And as they're doing that, of course, like, whites grab one of them, and one of the pointless, they're like red shirts, basically cannon fodder. The other wildlings that are there are just for cannon fodder to die.
Yeah.
Some die at
Yeah.
the bear,
Yeah.
some die at this moment in this combat, like, and one gets dropped, crash at the ice, that makes or into the lake, the ice cracks all around, all the whites start falling in, and then they have to, like, stand off, and they basically just, like, enclose them, trapping them out on the rock. And so, yeah, they're stuck out on that rock, and I have an issue with this because, well, obviously I feel like, wouldn't they just keep plowing through? I guess the Night King controls them, I would imagine. But does the Night King control them? Do they all control them separately? Because while they're there, they kind of determine that it's the Night King, or well, they determine that they ask like, why did all those other whites die when he killed the White Walker? And it's like, well, maybe he's the one that turned them,
Right.
and then the other one wasn't. So then it was like, okay, so Bob wasn't Sammy's white. Bob was Phil's white. Phil the White Walker. So basically, you had Sammy who brought out his troop, and Bob was like, hey, can I go with? And then he was like, sure, Bob, come on. I know you're Phil's, but come on anyway, come with us. And then when he died, Bob was the only one that lived. And so it was like, so it's like, okay, so Bob's there, and so it's like, okay, so do
Maybe
all
that's
these
why he
White
was-
Walkers...
Maybe that's why Bob was so afraid.
Yeah, I guess, like, oh, I fucked up. I didn't protect... Phil's gonna be so pissed.
Right.
Phil's gonna kill me. Like, I don't know. I didn't, I didn't save Sammy. I don't know. Either way. It's like, so okay, so you got that. And then it's like, well, so does the Night King control them all, or does all of them... Because they're like, well, if you kill the Night King, you kill them all. He turned all the people in White Walkers, and so on. So you kill the Night King, the White Walkers die, then the whites that they control die. But of the White Walkers in general, who controls what? Just the ones that raise them control them? Because they're like necromancers.
Right.
And I kind of am okay, like, I understand the story a little bit because of necromancer and in lore and stuff, and just like general and like fantasy adventure stuff. They raise the dead, they control the dead. The dead have no emotions, which is why I have an issue with some of this. No feelings, whatever. They're just undead. And they've kind of displayed that throughout the entire series, that they just like walk and shamble or run and rip apart and do whatever. But they're not afraid or whatever. I guess they like hiss and whatever before they attack. I don't know, whatever. But either way, it's just like they don't have like emotions. Are not cognitive basically. But in this episode, they seem to be very much so, and they seem to care. And so, it's like, so do they just control their own factions? How many whites died when Sammy died? Sammy
Right.
the White Walker. How many others, died? So, and then maybe that's what triggered the Night King knowing where they were. I don't know. Does he know where they are? If one of his that he created died? I don't know. So either way, like, yeah. So they go out and they're surrounded. I don't know how they're being controlled, but they just kind of surround. And instead of sending one out once in a while to test the water or test to see if it's frozen, they like stand there literally, and the Night King's just standing there staring at them.
Yeah.
And so, that's pretty much it. We do get a scene where Gendry reaches Eastwatch. He ran the whole way. I mean, it showed him at night and then in the day, so he must have ran all through the night. I don't know.
But they don't really show that. That's one thing about with timing that I don't quite understand. It's they show it with him running.
Well,
but
it showed it dark with them on the rock, but it was very brief.
Right. It was.
Yeah. Because then he runs, gets knocked, whatever, he's passed out, he collapses, he says, sends a raven or whatever. They send a raven. Yes. And so it's like, okay. And then this raven obviously gets out there. Daenerys gets it. She's like, I'm going to help. And despite what Tyrion says, he's like, don't go, you need to be here and all this. You can't go to the most important person in the world, can't go to the most dangerous part of the world, whatever, this and that. And she's like, I'm done not doing it. I'm done doing nothing. And I'm like, well, you just messed up the Lannisters and whatever, but I guess if you got to. So how do they even know? I don't know. So she just blindly follows because she, it's Jon, and that's that whole love interest and, just drives her for, her reasonings. And, so... Again, the Ravens being super fast. I don't know how long it took for Gendry to get back, and obviously through the night to the next day, then for them to send out the Raven to reach Daenerys, for her to determine, if there was any time there to go, and then for her to get there, to go and take off to try to help. And so we've got this teleporting time warp things, just like I thought, even with the bear, when the bear is running at the guy, and then all is on his side, I was like, great, teleporting bears, awesome, love it.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't make sense. Love it. So, that was the scene we got kind of in between these scenes with the Magnificent Seven, basically. And, well, now less because Gendry's not there, but then you find out through the night, Thoros has succumbed to the cold and has passed away. And so it does show them, like, sitting there, like, waking up a little bit after the night, so I'm assuming it's the next morning. They don't really have time display, like you say, they just kind of shrug it off.
Right.
And so then,
which bothers me, I guess.
Yeah, it bothers me.
Yeah.
Like how much time has passed, and like how much and you didn't send some whites out once in a while to test the water or whatever. Basically, you have the Hound dinking around throwing rocks at the whites, and then one that like hits and slides across the ice, and then it was like the white just looking and then looking up, and then like steps out and goes tests and walks out there, and it was like, I just feel like, so are they doing their own thing? Like, because they seem to be thinking on their own in some ways too. They give them a lot of emotions and human characteristics when they're, I feel like they should just be undead. Like, can they even think? Like, they should just be ravenous, whatever. Like, it's not really explained, I guess, but I feel like there's been a gradual change between the White Walkers and the dead throughout the entire series, like, because they're talking about White Walkers having to get stuff up, but I thought they, for the beginning, talking about how you had to burn bodies so they wouldn't become undead. And they didn't need a White Walker, from my understanding, to raise them. It's just, it was like an element from being beyond the wall, basically. And then I started thinking about the wildlings. Like, I don't know, I can't remember. Did they burn all their dead all the time? Because they were fighting, there was warring factions all the time. I mean, they got to be aware of the dead. I mean, they were trying to run away, I think. They were trying to get south of the wall, I think, at one point. That's the whole, you know, hard home stuff and whatever, and even before that, but John helped them, but I don't know. So there seems to be like inconsistencies, or maybe I'm just forgetting how the lore of the series works, I guess, with the undead and needing someone, because half the time you don't need the Night King to even touch anything, you know. Yeah, I mean, they've shown him touch a baby, turn a baby, or whatever. But they've shown him also just raise his hand like at Hardhome, and even the dead that they killed, I believe, even the undead that well, no, because it was just the dead, and then he raised it, and then the dead came back and then charged, I think. But, like, even still, like, could he not just do that again?
Yeah.
Could he not just continually keep them getting up, the ones that they strike down or whatever? So, I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting rambled again. Once they find out that the ice is frozen, they all ambush and attack again. Or not ambush, but they just attack John and crew. And, well, I guess I had an issue with this because, like, if Thoros was dead, like, he could just have raised him. Like, right there on the island, and while they were sleeping and resting, and he could just attack them while they were sleeping and whatever. But obviously, that's something that would ruin stuff, like, story-wise. But anyway, yeah, so they attack, and, you know, I don't know. I'm going to bring up the moment where, like, I guess the Hound has the hammer now, and he broke the ice, and Undead fell in. I thought he had, like, an epiphany. I thought he was going to try breaking the ice again. So obviously it's like, but he didn't, and then he dropped it, and then he pulled out a dagger. So I guess you want to do a dagger, like, instead of the hammer. But either way, like, none of this made sense, and the fighting was very poor, I thought. It was poorly done. Like, it was like hack and slash, but it was like each one strike like took down a white. So like while they were fighting just 10 of them, they were like struggling. Like Jorah was getting choked out. They were like struggling fighting the whites, and then all of a sudden now it's like they just like one hit done. Doesn't matter if it's with the hammer or the sword, the knife. I mean,
maybe
some are
in their
skeletons.
sleep they had
like,
epiphanies of like how to fight them or what.
Yeah, not even like how to fight them. It's just, it just doesn't make sense. Like, so it's just one and done, like one hit, one kill. And then that's where I bring up the Night King, just be like, nope, you guys are good, come back up. Like, because if they can, obviously they don't die in like one hit, like they're undead. I don't know. And that's the thing with Bran with the undead, like they were just skeletons, or they're just undead and then there's whites, because there are different, I guess, like those are skeletons, I think. But I thought they came back because they were undead because of the magic of the realm that was talked about or whatever, and they came back and attacked them.
Yeah.
You know, but the Night King wasn't there, so where'd they come from? And like, and now it's like, okay, so you've got undead here, but they're just popping up, and not only, and they're not popping up, like he could just keep raising them, I would imagine. So, but beyond that, like, so they fight, and I just had an issue with the one hit, one kill kind of thing. And, you know, and then you've got the fact that what looked like, do they have, I don't even know if they have dragon glass, because there was a scene with Jorah.
I know, I was kind of wondering
like,
that the whole time.
He had like a jagged dagger, and it looked like dragon glass. And maybe his sword, but the rest I couldn't really even tell. And I thought dragon glass was mostly just for the White Walkers. So that's all it really kind of showed it for throughout the series, and Valyrian steel can like just shatter them. So, like, you know, and then I kind of complained, like, why didn't they create all this stuff? You know, all these weapons, even arrowheads, bring some bows with arrowheads made out of dragon glass and all that, because it's like, obviously it's not even a lot that's needed to like kill them. It's whatever the material, whatever the magic of the material is doing it. So, but anyway, so maybe they do have it, but either way, they're just hacking and slashing, one hit, they're dropping, and then, you know, you get some scare moments, like Tormund goes down, and you think he's gonna whatever, and I bring this up in the hammering in the ice because whites jump out of the ice, grab Tormund by the legs, try to drag him in. They just pile on to Tormund, choking him, dragging him, so this brought up an issue that I had because of the fact that, okay, so the whites inconsistently fight. Like, sometimes they hack you, kill you with the weapons, or do they eat you? Do they rip you apart? And it's like, for the non-Magnificent Seven, they, seem to rip them apart.
Right.
Like, a little later, we get a scene where one drops into a pile of them, and they just, rip him apart.
Yeah.
And that's that. And so, but when Tormund's getting pulled in, they don't hack him, they don't rip at him, they don't bite him, and whatever, and I'm like, well, so they can swim? Because these fuckers jumped out of the water, grabbed them, and started
pulling in. So why were
in.
they afraid of the frozen lake?
Yeah, so what did it matter if they fell into the water?
Yeah.
They can swim. They could just climb up on the other end and keep going. And then they could have just kept piling them. And then the Night King could keep raising them if they happened to die when they were across it. And then there was just nothing they could do.
Right.
And they would be screwed, obviously. So, but anyway. So I had a real issue with that. And so, I don't know. And then it came the point that I noticed that it looked like the whites were trying to save Bob. So Bob is up there, chained up and tied up, gagged, whatever, bound. And twice. There's one starts on fire because Barrack hits him with the flame sword, and then he runs up, and it looks like he's trying to free Bob. So I got a screenshot of that. And then one's where Jon yells to fall back, and they're carrying them. He's carrying Bob, and then he gets slashed, so he has to let go and drop Bob. And so they're like, these whites are trying to protect Bob, and I don't get it. Why? What does it matter? Who cares? Because they should only care if the Night King cares. But why the hell would the Night King care? And he doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
And if he did, what in the world would it matter to him if they got a white across the wall? I don't know what his thinking is, but that plans, it took him forever to even get to East, where he's at, to Eastwatch, before the series even began.
Yeah.
So he is slow as hell.
Yes.
But he doesn't matter, and he hasn't been able to get beyond the wall. And that hasn't really been explained. I hear it's magical wall, and there's the horn, but that's kind of all been glossed over in the series, so they need another way, which conveniently was again provided later on. So, because while this attack's going on, it seems all is lost. Then, dun dun, you got Daenerys. So, yes, she swoops in, which is awesome scenes. Yeah. It is so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful, the CGI, everything, it just looks great.
Yep.
And they're flying across, torching all the undead, and, ripping up the lake and everything, and, the ice and stuff, and it just looks awesome. So I took a lot of screenshots of that, too, because there was a lot of sweet ones. So the scene was great. They come in, Dragonland starts torching everything, Drogon, and that she rides. I mean, that's the main one.
Yep.
And so they load up Bob, and and then you got Jon, who kind of stays behind to defend and stuff. And then comes probably one of the other most infuriating moments of the episode, where the Night King, Phil, I say Phil's the bald one. That looks different, because a lot of the White Walkers look alike. The scraggly hair and whatever, but this guy's bald, so I say that's Phil. So Bob is Phil's. So Phil, the White Walker, grabs a spear, gives it to the Night King, and the Night King just goes across, and, you see him cross the fire, but he's crossed fire before. Because part of me is like, why didn't... If you're coming in to swoop in and save or whatever, you probably can tell that this group is the White Walkers, because they're all singled out all by themselves, so why not just attack them?
Yeah.
Before they can do anything, because he's taking his sweet time, he's just watching it happen and not doing anything, and sure, they're doing all this, and she's landing to get him up, but it's kind of like, well, they're right there, and they could probably tell, what would it matter just to even attempt?
Right.
So, I don't know, or nobody tells them to, hey, that's what you kill him, we think that that'll stop everything. The White Walkers will die, then the Whites will die, and that's it. Game over, we win. Yeah. Nobody says anything. It's just, load up Bob. So we can fight him later, even though he's right there and I got 3 dragons. Whatever. So, but with this spear, we learn that the Night King is as my friend said, an Olympic javelier, basically. Pretty much. So he's trajectorying and waiting, and then he just throws it, and he hits Viserion, who is flying around torching the undead still, and it's kind of badass because it gets him right when he's spouting fire and like so when it hits it's like fire and blood basically just like explodes. He like explodes almost like
explodes,
out the shoulder or neck or wherever he got hit, and it's crazy. It looked crazy, like, and you got this scene where it's like on fire and you see Daenerys and whatever and Jorah looking at him like coming down, and looks like the other dragon, I can't remember the other dragon, the third dragon's name, but like trying to almost like swoop in to like save it, but it's like too late and it just crashes in the ice.
It got
and
me goosebumps.
yeah, it was awesome, but like so it crashes and then it just kind of like slowly, like it was so sad, like sliding into the lake. And so obviously then I knew multiple things that were going to take place. So but either way, like that was a crazy awesome scene. But it was just, I had an issue with the fact that he's got the spear. He throws it at this one moving around. I don't know what his familiarity is with dragons. So, like, but either way, like, throws it, one hit, one kill. Like, okay, boom, whatever. But you have the biggest dragon of the group just sitting there, and they're loading up people that you would want to turn and kill and turn, and you know, obviously, and so it's like you're not gonna and while he's walking out there before he's whatever, you can see the dragon right there torching everything, like it's right there, it's distracted, people or whatever, they obviously don't have a clue that he would even attack or launch an attack. And so it's like, you wouldn't go for that one with this person who's on it and they're loading up all these people that you're trying to kill, and it's just sitting there. Distracted. And it's the biggest. If you're the Night King, if you're gonna take a dragon, you want the biggest. Like, come on. But nope, he goes for that flying one. So I had a huge issue with that.
The only thing I can think of with that is that I was flying around and torching all of his army, so maybe that's why. But
you wouldn't care, but the other one was torching his army too.
I know.
Like if you saw it wasn't flying around, but well, even easier. So so does that, and then then Jon gets pissed. Obviously, Daenerys is kind of like stunned or whatever. I thought she was then going to attack the Night King. Like at least try. I don't know. She just one of your kids. You just killed one of your kids. Are you not going to try to kill him? Like,
I thought so. Yeah.
Nope. So Jon goes nuts, tries to like hack everybody, whatever, and then sees that he's about to like get another javelin and. This time, hey, okay, now I'll go for the big guy, like you guys. So like he's like, get out of here, run, and then stays behind, and then he falls into the ice from the whites while he's fighting, and I'm like, oh, okay. So he falls into the ice, and then she waits a little bit, but then they take off because the Night King's about to, and of course, the Night King swing and a miss. He like whiffs it. Of course, and they're on their way.
When he just perfectly did it on the last one.
Perfectly to a flying dragon, no less, but the one that's barely getting up and starting to go. So, whatever. But, that I had an issue with. Why he didn't go for that dragon, whatever. And Jorah almost, I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to fall off the dragon. When it seemed to, like, when they missed and they, like, did a little twist or whatever in the sky, he seemed to roll off, and I thought he was toast. So, which would have been kind of okay, but been cool. But I thought he should have been dead from grayscale anyway. But so I don't know. And so they all get away, and then you find out, obviously, they get away. Jon Snow pops out of the ice, like the frozen lake. Like he has to be freezing. He gets out, and.
At least he's struggling.
Yeah, he struggles a little at least. But Undead's walking away. But nobody needs to swim. Nobody needs to breathe air. In this, like you saw it with Jaime and Bronn, and so obviously, like why would Jon Snow be any different? So he doesn't need air, and it doesn't matter if he's freezing and in armor and whatever. So, but so he gets out, and the Undead's already been leaving, but then they notice that he's out, and then they come to attack him. And so I'm like, what are you gonna do? And then, of course, then you got Benjen. Cold Hands comes, his uncle, and comes plowing through the masses that are charging at him, like taking him out, boom, 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 with his little fire chains, whatever. So, which is cool, but I'm like, okay, gets there, Jon's shocked, like, Uncle Benjen, like, what the heck? Because that's like their first reunion, I think. So it's like, okay, and what the heck happened to him? And because I think it was like I think they explained the chill in the forest made him that way. So, but so he could survive or whatever the heck it is. But then he's like, get on the horse and get out of here. And he's like, come with. He's like, no time. And I'm like, no time? Like, you got a horse. Like, why didn't they all have horses? Like, to begin with, like, because then Gendry wouldn't have to run the whole way back. or any of them. They could have just all like taken off because the Night King their horses they just walk slow.
Yeah.
Like they've never like went full throttle. So I don't know. Either way, Benjen saves him and basically sacrifices himself. I thought it was lame because I thought the character was kind of cool, but they never really. He just showed up to like protect Bran conveniently and hold off the undead. He didn't die then, I guess, when they were pulling him by a sled
Right.
to get away. I don't know. So, and then, then Jon gets away, and then, he only kills like one or two whites, and then he gets surrounded and clad and killed. I'm assuming killed or turned. Who knows now?
Yeah.
But either way, I thought that sucked for that character because I like that character, but it was just, they could like say, whatever, he's done now.
Yeah.
So, but, and so then we've got, just Beast Watch. And Daenerys waiting for them. They load Bob up into a boat, and the Hound's bringing him out to the main ship, and they're going to bring him to Cersei. And but Daenerys is holding out for Jon, and he's like, Jorah's like, it's time to go, and she's like, just a little while longer, which equates to about 5-10 seconds.
Right.
And then she turns around to leave, like, okay, well, you gave it that little extra time there, but then Jorah sees something, and then of course here comes Jon Snow on horseback through the woods, and ta-da! So yeah, they load him in the boat.
Yep.
And I like this scene because she got to see the scars,
yeah,
especially the one in the heart.
Right.
So she knows that it wasn't just Davos being extravagant and carried away. It was like this was a legitimate thing, you know. And I guess that's cool, but because they really were kind of like addressing that a bit much, and I was like, oh, God. And then they showed this, and it's like, okay, they really seem to like really want to make it's like become a lot predictable, like a lot more predictable. Yeah. Like they're like not trying to surprise you with certain things. It's like, this is what we're doing with the plot and the story.
This is what
like the romance between them and the kids thing and all this stuff, and I don't know. So, but she then he wakes up, they talk and whatever, and he apologizes about the dragon and wishing they could take it back or whatever, this and that, and they kind of have their heartwarming touch, heart to heart, and that tension there, and they're holding each other's hands and this and that. So, and then he basically swears allegiance, basically that he'd bend the knee, and so and that was also foreshadowed while they were walking around, because like Tormund was talking with Joe on their little trek, about the old king of the Wildlands. I can't remember his name now, but he was in the episode, he was in the seasons and stuff. He was like the king of the Wildlands, who was leading them south and whatever, and how his pride to not bend the knee, how did that fare for him, and how many people died because of it and whatever. So they've already hinted, okay, that he was going to do this. So it's all of it's so heavy-handed. It's just I don't know. That's kind of annoys me, but so so he swears allegiance and such, and then about to pass out, and then we got the ending scene where the whites are pulling the Syrian out of the lake with these huge ass chains. So my nickname for the Night King is Chains, because I don't know where these chains came from.
Yeah.
Like I just carry them around, like these chains, or like did they go back to base camp, wherever the hell that was, and then come back with chains? Because the chains like
they're
like
huge.
I said, they're huge, and it took them that long to get that close to Eastwatch throughout this entire years upon years upon years of the series taking place.
Yeah.
And then before that they obviously just didn't go back and come back. Well, they could have, because they can teleport. Things can teleport. Time doesn't matter. So how do they even get down there? Well, we know they swim, but they only kind of like hint at it a few, so I don't know. So they went down there, and then they just started dragging the body up. I don't know how heavy that dragon has to be.
Right.
It has to be heavy as hell. But you know what could carry big chains or could pull up a dragon? Giants. Undead white giants that they've shown earlier in the series.
Right.
Like this season, like at least 2 of them, but I think there was 3 shown, and who knows how many more.
Right.
But the giants are just gone. Yeah. You know what else would have fucked things up and helped the Night King win and take out fucking Jon? The giant whites. Giants. Like, they're just gone. Where the hell are they? Like, and I know people are saying, like, well, this is a little off, because, like, they're saying with the dragon, like, the foreshadowing the bear, and, like, oh, the bear, well, yeah, we already know they can raise animals.
Yeah.
Like, they have horses.
Yeah.
That are undead, and that's been in the series since, like, season 1 or 2 or whatever it was. Like, so, yeah, I have no idea, but... So we know that they can do this, but where the hell did the chains come? Where the hell are the giants? Like, this stuff just doesn't make sense, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have a huge issue with that. As soon as I saw the chains, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, could he not... He didn't need to... What does the Night King need to touch to make come back? It doesn't have to be humans, because he can just do that.
Yeah.
So, could he not just do that with, just
dragon?
raise his hand? Like, I don't know where there it is. I was like, my hand's gone. Like, could he not just raise his hand and then, like, ta-da, there's the dragon. Like, that would have been fine, too.
Yeah.
Like, I would have done that way before doing all these chains. Like, do they not think, oh, where did these chains come from? Who cares? Like, we don't have to explain this. We just have to give them these badass stuff. This badass stuff.
Pull this dragon out.
Yeah, like just like these scenes, people won't care. Like, no, that's not true. So, I don't know, but yeah, no giants. He could have just raised it. Like, I don't know why they even needed the chains, but where the hell did the chains come from? Because they're there now. So I don't know. Like,
teleported.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, and so that is basically the episode. He pulls up the Viserion and he walks up, puts his hand on it, and dragon opens his eyes and boom, undead frost dragon. So I don't know. This episode had a lot of great scenes in terms of, like, action, even though I didn't like the action. Like, I didn't like the fighting because it was, like, one hit, one kill stuff that I thought was just ridiculous. It didn't make sense. Why didn't it just swarm when stuff could swim? Why didn't it just come out of the water? What did it matter?
Right.
Like, because they showed that they could swim. And so, like, all these things, the dragon scenes were amazing. They always are. Like, you know, even
so obviously
when...
they invest into those.
Yeah, because even when the dragons left to go fight, you know, and it was just tearing up on the cliff and the dragons were going down, it just looked awesome. Like, and they don't mess around with the dragons and the CGI and special effects and stuff. It all looked beautiful and it was just really well done. So visually it was stunning.
Yeah.
But story-wise, it just felt so full of plots. Like, you know, and not even all the scenes, like, because even the scenery shots were great. Like, it was just beautiful. And, you know, I don't know. I just can't, like, let that completely overwrite the fact that a lot of the rest was just a mess. And I feel like it's just continually going downhill. And so for my rating for this, my Oh My Nuts rating is... it's probably higher than I want to. Like, I was going to do 7.5 because I do think a lot of the scenes were great. If it was just based on story, it'd be like a 4. Like, it would be crap. But I do think that a lot of the scenes that they show look amazing. And so I think that gives it a lot of, I guess, a little boost in my rating. I don't know if it should or not, but... I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I was going to do an 8, but then I was kind of thinking 7.75. Yeah, I think I'm going to do 7.75 just because of, like, the storyline holes. But a lot of the scenes were very majestic and beautifully shot. And yeah, like you said, I think it does push it up a little bit. But
sure. Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's, I think, the first time mine's been lower than yours. I think we tied on one.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I literally have, like, a whole list of questions that I wrote down, like weather conditions, bear teleporting. I think I addressed most of them and the thing. So, the fighting Sammy, the White Walker, how long for run for Gendry, whatever, Lake Unfrozen. Yeah, so I think I got most of these. We addressed most, I think.
Yeah.
Night King turned at inconsistencies. Was it matter the giants, the chains, Bob seeming scared, them trying to save Bob. So, I mean, I had, like, a whole list. I had my, like, notes, and then I had, like, my questions alone, which is as much as the notes. So, I just thought this was a mess of an episode. As much as it was visually spectacular, it's hard for me to forgive the storytelling and stuff, and so I don't know. And I know one of my questions was, where was Ghost? His wolf and stuff, and I did see an article where they said it was too hard to CGI
really?
It's easier to do a dragon than a wolf because of all the whatever, and I'm like, but Numeria was in it, like Arya's wolf, so it's like, I don't know.
So obviously you can do it.
So I don't know, that stuff annoys me because I don't know, but you know, I'm glad that Ghost hasn't been around because with how they're running the series, they're just killing off stuff. So like I'm surprised they actually didn't just bring in Ghost and like dead.
Right.
Like, and just get rid of it, then they don't have to worry about it. If it's a
Right.
production value thing, like just cost effectiveness, just not there, then they would just kill it, which would suck,
Right.
like hardcore. But yeah, apparently it is what it is. So yeah, I don't know. I think the different undead, Matt, yeah, whatever. If there's more, I can do a separate thing. But how about you? What did you think about this episode? Do you have any issues with any of the inconsistencies, whether it's through the White Walkers, the planning, the different plans that they come up with? Like, ridiculousness, just the breathing underwater, like the random chains, how the undead work,
Yeah.
like the Night King, what is his drive even, like, any of it, like, I just feel like, and what about the Arya?
Oh, God.
Like the Arya and Sansa sibling rivalry, like drama, Littlefinger, all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and do you think, obviously, I think it's happening anyway, but, you know, the Jon, at this point, the Jon and the Daenerys thing is happening, so do you think, like, once they think they're going to somehow find out that he's legitimized, he's, like, actually royalty, he's not a bastard, and her nephew, and then will they care and then still get it on? I don't know, but, like, will she maybe pass then on the succession to him? I think he would have the rights of that in the line. I don't know for sure, but
Yeah.
but because it would be like her brother's son or something like that.
Right.
So I think that would be the correct whatever. But so I don't know. But do you think they'll discover that and then he'll just be made king and then the lineage will pass on and it would be a true lineage because he is, well, it wouldn't be like full blood like
Right.
Targaryen, but he's got Targaryen blood and stuff.
Sure.
And because
Yep.
I think in the books or whatever, I think I read that they did incestual, like keeping the bloodline, so pure whatever. So I don't know, but yeah, what do you think? How do you think the season finale is going to go? Do you think, obviously we think you got a frost dragon, that's the other thing, the frost dragon now gives them a convenient way to get beyond the wall. You can fly beyond the wall, torch people at Eastwatch, open the gates and let the undead through. So I can't imagine what else is going to happen really, so that's what I'm imagining. So I don't know, which I think is lame, but they don't really have an explanation for how he gets past the wall anyway, so
Right.
I feel like that's the only option. But yeah, so what do you think? Do you think we're gonna have an epic fight with the White Walkers and the well, not the White Walkers, the undead dragon and the other dragons like Drogon and stuff are going at it? I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, there's got to be a dragon fight
Right.
at some point, so I don't know if it's gonna be Night King riding it and then Daenerys on the other or whatever. I'm still waiting for Bran to take over a dragon
Right,
because
yeah.
he's a warg and he was told by the Three-Eyed Raven that he would fly. You'd never walk again, but you'll fly. And I'm like, that can't just be birds. He's already done the bird crap. So it's like, that's not it. So I don't know. I would like him to take over and I thought he would get to ride a dragon. So who knows? Maybe it's just going to be in the books and they just won't do it in the series. I don't know. I'm really curious. So let us know what you think about the episode and any of our complaints. Do you think any are viable, justified, or I know some people talk about teleporting and all these inconsistencies and stuff, but I think they're an issue. So I don't know. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we're running on the hour mark again. Sorry this is long, but it is what it is. So thanks again for watching. If you like the video, give a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content. Maybe check out some other videos below. You can point to them. There's somewhere down there. And then
Here.
here. Yeah. And yeah, until next time, take care.
Bye.